Welcome to Fresh Off the Set. I'm Kari Hawker-Diaz.
And I'm Brooke Mangum. Thanks so much for joining us today for another episode. Kari, did you brush your teeth today?
I did.
Oh, good.
Did you?
Yes, I did. It's the nighttime one that I struggle with, but I'm pretty consistent.
You know what? And I also struggle with the nighttime one, and I know why. It's because I have so much to do already, like get my child to bed and also take off my makeup and scrub my face, and then it's just like one more thing. But I am pretty consistent with it nowadays. I used to not be. You are too?
Yeah, I try and be as consistent as possible, but it's not because I'm worried about my oral health. It's vanity. I'm like, I had a
She's honest, people.
I had the coffee, the red wine, like it's going to stain it. You better get it off.
She's honest. Okay. Do you get cavities easy?
I knock on wood. I don't even think this is real wood, but I'm knocking on it. I have never gotten a cavity.
Oh my gosh. You're amazing.
So not brushing your teeth maybe helps.
Maybe. Yeah, that's amazing. I used to get a lot when I was a kid. Like a ton of, I feel like every time I would go in, I would have cavities. And then I have now like less and less. I get them here and there, but not that many. But my daughter has the same thing. She gets them a lot. And we make her brush her teeth morning and night. Nighttime, it's a battle. Mm-hmm. It is a battle.
It's so hard with kids. Well, and it is. It's a lot of the times it's the shape of your tooth that you're more prone and things like that. So it's like you have to be on top of it.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. So, but it's interesting. I chatted with the couple that runs EpicDental. They have like mints and they have chewing gum that's filled with xylitol. Mm-hmm. And it blew my mind with how much I did not know that this is so good for your teeth. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I've never heard of it. So we're doing things that we think that are good for our teeth and they're not. Is that what we're getting at here?
Yeah. I learned so much. Monica and Donald are like it's the science with it. So should we just give it a listen?
Let's do it. I'm picking out my teeth right now, like thinking about it. Let's start.
I am so excited to talk with Monica and Donald Bailey. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
It's really great to see both of you. Okay, let's start with just maybe tell us about your company. What is it? And tell us about it.
Yeah, so EpicDental is our company. We started it with the idea of helping people who had struggled with cavities consistently find a realistic solution. Primarily what we do is we sell gum, mints, toothpaste, and mouthwash that help treat the root cause of cavities. Most people don't realize that cavities are caused by a bacterial infection. They think the thing that they need to worry about is if I just brush perfectly, maybe my teeth will be better, because that's what they've been taught.
Right.
From a very young age. Brush, floss, and it'll be good. And if you have a cavity, you did a bad job brushing and flossing. But the reality is some people have really bad bacteria in their mouth. Their ecosystem in their mouth is crowded with bacteria that consume the carbohydrates in the foods they eat and turn that into acid. If you can get rid of that bacteria, then you slow the acid production.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay. So I was told when I was a kid that I had like really chalky teeth and I always got cavities. Is that a lie?
It is a lie.
Oh my gosh.
So many myths. Yeah, people say like it's genetic or you have too much sugar or you have soft teeth. Those are all false.
All false.
Misinformation.
Yeah, I mean, there's nuggets of truth, right? Some people can have softer enamel than others, but that's not really what happens for most people. What's really going on is they're consuming too much acid in their diet regularly. They're sipping on a coffee, a tea, a soda that's acidic, and they're doing that throughout the day. And every time that you take in acid, it takes about 30 minutes for your saliva to buffer that so that it gets back to a neutral state where calcium and phosphate can redeposit. When it's an acidic environment in your mouth, the calcium and phosphate leach out of your teeth. And that's why you have that challenge. So a lot of people who drink sports drinks or sodas or whatever all day long, they start to get cavities because they have a constant acid challenge going on.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, I didn't know. I know, when I was with my daughter, they would say like, don't drink juice right before bed when she was little because it would like sit in your teeth. So are those drinks bad for us? And can we still drink them and maybe just like rinse with water? Does that help?
So that's a great question. And so it's really not the sugar in those drinks that's causing a problem. It's the fact that those sugars in the drinks are feeding bad bacteria all night long. So if your child has a juice before bed, one juice is likely to be acidic, and that's why it tastes so good. But then the sugars inside that juice are feeding bad bacteria like strep mutans. So it gobbles up those sugars, it produces acid as a byproduct, lays out on your teeth all night long. So your teeth are essentially bathing in acid and falling apart all throughout the night. And so that's why juice is a problem at bedtime.
Yeah, for sure. I would also add this. You asked, is it healthy? Are those foods healthy or not? I don't want to think about that from an oral health perspective very often. Eat the foods you enjoy and then do interventions that follow the meals, snacks, and sodas to help resolve the problems that come with those foods. So a juice is not necessarily unhealthy from an oral care perspective. It's just acidic. But if you chase it with a xylitol chewing gum, for example, one that's just loaded up with xylitol immediately after, the motion of chewing plus the sweetness of the xylitol is going to get your saliva flowing. That saliva will naturally buffer against the acid and help redeposit the minerals. So you can still just enjoy the things you would enjoy, but enjoy them at meal times, not throughout the day, so that you have fewer acid challenges, and then buffer quickly using something like a xylitol gum to help solve that.
Okay.
And I think the more you kill off those bad bacteria, the less you have to worry about being perfect to eating, perfect to brushing, because you don't have those in there in your mouth fighting constantly. And so you just have to worry about those moments of acid from food and drink rather than constant acid from bacteria.
Sure. Okay. Are there drinks? Because here in Utah, we sure like our sugary drinks, but are there drinks that are worse than others? Some people like their coffee. Some people like their sugary drinks, juices. Are there some that, I mean, I know you said kind of enjoy and do your thing, but just be aware of it. Is there like one that stands out that is like really bad for your teeth?
So I'm not even going to throw out a drink. Listerine mouthwash is horrible for your teeth.
Wait,
right?
Hold on. Mic drop. Wait. It's Listerine's bad for our teeth?
Yeah,
So
it's
bad.
highly acidic, right? So when you sit down and you think about what am I going to consume, the pH of that thing matters. So Listerine is probably like a 3.1. I'd have to go look and see.
Sure.
But it's highly acidic, right? And so that is automatically going to leach out calcium and phosphate. And to boot, it's alcoholic. It's not alcoholic, like you're not going to drink it, but it's an alcohol-based mouthwash.
Sure, there's alcohol in it, yeah.
And what that does is a couple things. It kills off all the good bacteria in your mouth, not just the bad bacteria, and it dries out your mouth so your saliva can't come do what it's designed to do, which is replenish the minerals that have come out when you've experienced an acid attack.
Saliva has such an important job because, one, it's redepositing those minerals over your teeth. Two, it's helping to buffer against the acid from foods and drinks and getting it back to a neutral pH. And then three, it just helps with having your mouth be comfortable so you don't experience dry mouth. And so people that have issues with saliva, either from medications they're taking or from consuming things that dry out their mouth, they have a huge risk of cavities. It goes through the roof because their mouth is so dry, they're not getting those benefits. And so healthy saliva is key. And so that's part of the magic of xylitol is it gets that saliva flowing and makes it happen faster.
Yeah.
I took a left turn there, so I'm going to answer your question directly too.
No,
about drinks.
I love this information. This is super eye-opening for me.
Yes.
And I'm sure everyone listening too.
Sodas, think like a Coca-Cola, highly acidic, right? And so anything that you know is acidic, and like vinegar is acidic, anything
Salad
that's
dressing.
sour.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Tomatoes.
Okay.
Yeah, all sour things, they really carry acid. That's why so many things taste good, but are harmful to your teeth.
Okay, so we got the acidity. Okay, I love, first of all, how passionate you guys are about this. This is amazing information for all of us to know. What inspired you to start your business? Because you obviously really care.
Yeah, so I just saw the opportunity. I had struggled with cavities all growing up. I had fillings all throughout my mouth and was just like, this is the worst. And when I found xylitol, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I have to get this out there. There was nobody selling gums with xylitol. You can now find gums that have small amounts of xylitol over at any retail shelf. But we really focus on getting 100% xylitol sweetened gum because you need enough xylitol to have an impact. And there were none of those on the market really here when I discovered it. And I said, they're in Japan, they're in South Korea, they're in Scandinavia. All these countries have seen tremendous benefits.
Not
from
the
promoting
USA.
But they were not in the US at the time. This was 20 years ago.
Well, and part of the reason why is xylitol is a very expensive sweetener compared to other things. And so a lot of the big corporations put in junk ingredients and artificial chemicals, things like aspartame that are not going to be good for your health, but they do it because it's cheap. And so I think to invest in a high quality gum, like it's more expensive, and that's why no one was doing it.
Yeah, so I just saw that opportunity. I said, we need to bring this to market here. So we put in a gum, a mint, toothpaste, a mouthwash, and that was kind of the genesis of the business.
Yeah, and the products. What is it like to run a business with your partner? Because you guys are awesome.
I mean, it's definitely had its challenges for sure, but I think overall it's been so positive because I think you pick this person that you love to spend time with, you love all these characteristics about them, and there's no one you're going to trust more than your spouse to run a business with. And so I think, that trust with a business partner is key.
That's a good point.
So it's been great.
When we started, I brought her in. I'd already established the business. I had all my routines, so it was kind of my domain, but I needed help, and I needed a really specific help. I needed somebody to bring structure to my chaos and my madness, right? And so I asked her to do that, but all of a sudden she's moving my cheese everywhere, and I was like, how do I fire my wife? How?
It was very uncomfortable.
Right? I was like, I can't do it, but I also can't stand how much she's moving. So it was really challenging. I think when we set up boundaries and really defined, here's your role, here's my role, we're not a substitute for the other, right? Her responsibilities at the business are very different than my responsibilities.
Yeah.
But we get to work together and make so many decisions together. It becomes fun and enjoyable to spend virtually 24/7 with the person that I chose to marry because I love so much. And so I think that's a fun experience.
Yeah, and that you care about the same thing together, which is this business. And if there are people out there listening that are thinking of going into business with their partner, how do you keep your lives balanced between work and home life? Is that possible?
I mean, I think you really have to look at what are your needs individually, because for Donald, he could talk about work 24/7 and be happy. For me, I need to kind of compartmentalize a little bit more and have some space because I need to be able to rest my brain to go into the next day to make 200 critical decisions. And so I have to kind of have some boundaries. And so that was something we talked about early on was, okay, once we are home, we are in home world and we are focusing on what our kids need and what the needs are there. And then when we're at the office or it's during office hours, that's when we're focused on work. So having that separation for me was key to be able to rest that part of my brain.
But I think it's a little more fluid than that, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what she really tries for. But for me, if family interrupts business time or business interrupts family time,
you have to roll with it.
I think you just have to have some flexibility. Wherever the fire is, that's what you need to respond to if there's a fire. Otherwise, focus on your actual responsibilities. So we make time to involve the kids in the business. All of them know about the products. They come help with packaging. They'll
That's fun.
come shred papers at the office. It makes it a good experience for everybody.
Yeah, that's fun. I like that, wherever the fire is. Because if you're trying to pay attention to everything, things are going to get dropped, right? So wherever that fire is, what's most important, that's really great advice. What's so cool is your products are backed by science and facts. Why is that so important to both of you?
I mean, I think for me, I studied science in college, and so, having that perspective is really interesting to me. But I think also there's so much bad information out there on the internet. Whatever it is you Google, you can find whatever answer you're looking for, whether or not it's true. And so I think people are looking for real solutions they can count on. And I've seen so many businesses, try and scam people by saying one thing that doesn't actually exist. And so I think for us, we're very transparent people, and that is a really big deal to make sure that customers are always getting results. And that's something we absolutely believe as individuals, that a real product that is good for you is going to give you real results, and you can measure that for yourself. So for us, one of the things we tell customers to look for is after they've been using the xylitol products for a week or two, notice how your teeth feel. We have thousands of reviews where people talk about how their teeth have never felt more clean. It feels like they just left a cleaning at the dental office because they're so slippery smooth. And so you can noticeably feel the difference for yourself, and you can look at the huge body of research. You can go on PubMed or any site you want to and search for articles on xylitol, and you can read through the literature yourself. And so you never have to take our word for it. You can lean on that knowledge.
Yeah, for me, it was hugely important that it was backed by science, because we need to be able to count on the result that the people are going to get. If I just promote something like it could have magic woo-woo that's going to work for you.
Yeah.
A good marketer can sell that to anybody, but a great business is built on people buying a thing because it consistently delivers.
And they come back again and again because they know it's real.
Sure. Yeah. And they can trust that. Yeah. That makes a big difference. Okay. We talked a little bit about the root causes of cavities. What other things can we do to avoid cavities and other like mouth problems? Any other advice?
Yeah, so I think what you typically hear is brush and floss, use a lot of fluoride, whether it's a fluoride varnish when you're at the dental office or a fluoride rinse or a fluoride toothpaste, and that's a pretty common go-to. I want to talk about why those work, but things that might work as well. So Brushing works because you're really scraping off the matrix of bacteria that are building up on your teeth. They set up scaffolding. When you brush, it scrapes it down, and they have to rebuild. When you brush perfectly, you would get everything out of every crevice, but none of us do that. So that bacteria can still go and cause problems. The other reason to brush is to lay down fluoride. Fluoride makes teeth more acid resistant.
So fluoride is good.
It depends.
I wouldn't say it's good. It's
okay.
It has a purpose. It's intentional. So it comes with risks and it has benefits, right? And so that's how I like to think about things. Fluoride makes teeth more acid resistant because when calcium and phosphate get together in the teeth, they form a material called hydroxyapatite. When fluoride's present, they form fluoroapatite. Fluoroapatite lowers the pH that starts you need a lower pH to start to dissolve fluoroapatite than you do hydroxyapatite. So they are somewhat more acid resistant, and that is why fluoride has a benefit. But most of us have brushed with fluoride toothpaste our entire lives and still struggle with cavities.
Right.
So it's a really incomplete solution. I think the best thing you can do is get to the sources of acid, whether that's in your diet, the things you eat and drink, how often you eat and drink, and make minor modifications there. I think the next thing you want to do is think about the defense once you've had the acid exposure. Rinse with water after any meal. Just rinse with water, spit it out, swallow it. It doesn't matter. Just get that across your teeth.
Rinse your mouth.
Yeah, just rinse it. When you're done with that, chase it with a xylitol gum. Get the gum to get your saliva going. Your saliva is naturally going to redeposit minerals. Now, you have to have you don't have to have a perfect diet, but a healthy diet that has some calcium, minerals left to redeposit, or you need something to apply the calcium. A lot of toothpaste like ours, we add calcium into it so that calcium is available to come into the teeth and redeposit on it. So what you want to do is just be thinking, how do I get rid of the acid sources and how do I improve the overall flora in my mouth? When you're using xylitol regularly, if you get about 6 grams a day, that's 2 pieces of 100% xylitol sweetened gum after 3 meals, you're going to notice how slippery smooth they feel. The plaque starts to disappear. You don't get as much buildup.
You don't have like the sweaters on your teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And that's without going, when you leave the dentist and you feel like your teeth are perfectly clean. So you'll have that feeling after because you get rid of all the gunk.
Yes. And it takes a couple of weeks of persistent use to get that, but you'll get it pretty easily.
Okay. This is really good information, you guys. Thank you so much. One other thing I was going to ask you, when you talked about chewing the gum, should we do it after each meal? Like rinse with water, then chew like after each meal, and after like if we have a cup of coffee, do that too?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And one of the things I love to do with our kids, because, kids don't always love to brush and they're never going to be perfect at brushing. In fact, I heard a dentist say that your child should be supervised while brushing until they're at least 10 years old because they're so bad at brushing. But what's amazing is if they have xylitol as a tool, they don't have to be perfect and you don't have to have that stress. And so for our kids, what we'll do is, after they brush in the morning or at night, we'll give them some xylitol mints or gum to follow that, because part of what will happen is you can break down that scaffolding that the bacteria build, then go in and attack them with the xylitol, which kills them off because they can't metabolize xylitol, but it's their favorite treat over any other sugar source that's there. So they'll gobble it up, but they can't produce any energy, so you kill them off over time. And so more than anything else you can do is getting rid of bad bacteria so you don't have an uphill battle the whole way through. And the kids feel like they're getting a treat, like they feel rewarded because they get gum or mints. They see it as candy, but they're getting a benefit. So it's a great parenting hack.
Everybody wins, including our mouths. Right. That's amazing. That's really cool. What ingredients do common mouth care products have that we should avoid?
Yeah, so like I said, alcohol. I would avoid any alcohol-based mouthwash.
Okay.
I personally don't use a fluoride toothpaste anymore because I don't need that benefit. I feel like my oral microbiome has become healthy enough using xylitol that it's not a challenge I have or something that I need to worry about. There's just some risks with fluoride. Fluoride's a neurotoxin, and overexposure can cause challenges. And I know a lot of people will push back and be like, no, it's been great. But I look at the data, and the data consistently shows that people get cavities regardless of their exposure levels to fluoride.
Interesting. Yeah, because you have that option. I think it's like every other time you get your teeth clean, they say, do you want the fluoride treatment? And I've always wondered. Okay, so just give it some research and look into it.
And I think if we contrast that research with research on xylitol, there was an incredible study that came out recently where they gave xylitol gum to pregnant mothers. They chewed it during their pregnancy, then they stopped. Their kids never ever used xylitol products. But the mothers that chewed xylitol gum, their kids had a huge reduction in the risk of cavities. And it's because the bacteria gets transferred from the caregiver to the child. So that's why people think cavities run in families. It's actually bacteria run in families because you share a kiss, a straw, a spoon with your baby.
Right.
And so that is where they're building their microbiome from, is copying yours, because that's transferring back and forth. So if the parents can write their oral microbiome, then the kids are going to have a way better chance at getting out without cavities, even if they never use xylitol. And then you imagine exposing them to xylitol on top of that, and that's an incredible protection.
This is really great information, you guys. Was it hard to come up with your products? And tell me about your products.
So I'm the one who came up with them. I wouldn't say it was hard. So you create a vision for a product, you make a specification, say, here are all the things that I think are important. And then you've got to find someone that has experience formulating the product. And so that's what we did. I found somebody to formulate gum, somebody else formulate mint, somebody else formulate mouthwash and toothpaste. And we've had to update every single formula because they all come up with ideas, and you experiment and you go back and forth. And then you put a product in the market and customers have opinions about it. And they're like, hey, I actually don't like this ingredient in here. So for example, our gum, when we originally made it, was very white. We put titanium dioxide in it. It was very common for most gums to have titanium dioxide.
Yeah.
But we had customers saying, hey, we don't want this in here. And so we looked for alternatives. And so now the gum is not as white and bright as it used to be, but we eliminated the titanium dioxide, and we had a lot more happy customers with just that minor cosmetic effect. So I think when you design products, it's really important to hear what the market says to you. Here's what we care about. Here are the things that are important to us, and make sure you take that into account.
Okay. And you guys have the gum. What else do you have?
So we have mints. We have 2 kinds of toothpaste. We sell just the xylitol sweetener because some people like to bake with it, or diabetics will often like to put it, in their coffee or cereal, things like that, because it's lower on the glycemic index. We also have a few flavors of some tooth wipes for babies. So what's interesting is, for little kids, before they're old enough to responsibly chew a piece of gum or suck on a mint, we have these tooth wipes where it's coated in a xylitol solution. It comes in grape and apple. And so what you do is you kind of wrap it around your finger and wipe it around your child's gums even before they have teeth.
Oh, that's so
you can
smart.
control the microbiome that gets established before the teeth even come in. And the kids love how they taste. And so a lot of parents will do that in lieu of brushing until they get old enough and they have teeth in to actually brush, because it gives you all the benefits. It builds that routine.
Yeah.
And babies absolutely love them.
Gosh, this is so smart. This is so good, you guys. Do your products taste good? Because I'm sure everybody is wondering. I have to ask.
They don't taste dental, is what I like to say. Compared to a mainstream gum, they're going to have bold, bright flavors like you would expect. But we don't put any artificial ingredients in, like aspartame or asulfame potassium. Those are super sweeteners, so they tend to prolong the perceived how long does your flavor last, that perception? So our flavor probably won't last as long, but it will be as bold and bright and just as yummy. And you really just need to chew the gum for 5 minutes after meals, snacks, or sodas to buffer and get it back up to a neutral pH.
Yeah. I'm sure people can appreciate that, not having all the artificial stuff. Is there the bestseller? What do people kind of lean towards?
I mean, people love peppermint and spearmint. It's classic flavors, but we have a lot of people on our team that love the orange mango. It's kind of like a tropical kind of flavor. Our kids love their fresh fruit. That is their go-to. It's kind of like a juicy fruit almost kind of flavor. So.
Yeah.
But I will say cinnamon lovers love our cinnamon gum and mints.
I do love cinnamon gum. I probably like that one.
Yeah. I mean, we had a neighbor that, she couldn't wait for an order to be shipped and asked us to bring some home from the office because she was so addicted to the flavor of the cinnamon mint. She was a big fan.
Yum. Okay, did we cover all the flavors? So you have the fruity of the mint, the cinnamon, anything else?
We also have wintergreen. We have bubble gum. For the Spiffy's tooth wipes, we have grape and apple, for kids. So
you're covering it all.
Yeah.
We're trying to.
It's amazing. Is there anything that you want to add in that I haven't asked you? Because it's a lot of great information that you're providing our listeners.
I think for people who've struggled with cavities, you need to find a dentist who will listen to your problem, help you get to the root cause, help you find the sources of acid. I think so often we go to the same person we've always gone to, and they say to us, do a better job brushing and flossing, and we just think the rest is our fault. No, they have information they can share with you. And if they don't, find a dentist that will. They're experts in surgery. They haven't taken loads of classes studying caries, the disease of cavities. But a lot of them know the risk factors and can talk to you about it. And if they're given the time. So find one that'll take the time to help you figure out what's going on in your particular situation so you really get to the root and solve the problem.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is if you are a person that's had cavities repeatedly,
I'm
there is
raising
a
my
way
hand.
out.
My hand is up.
Me too. I was the same way. I had cavities for years, and I asked several dentists, like, what is going on? Like, why? I have great hygiene. Why is this happening? But when you have the right information, you can change that story. And so don't give up hope. Don't give up on going to the dentist. Like, there is absolutely a way out. You just need the right information and the right tools, and it becomes so easy to get out of that cavity cycle. And so just know there is hope.
Yeah, I think this is such valuable information for us as adults, but also as parents that are listening, because I have a 6-year-old daughter, and it is so frustrating because we're brushing day and night, and we rinse and we do these things, but this now is a big game changer. So this is awesome. Thank you so much for all of this, you guys. Congrats on such a successful business. If we want to order your products, which you should, you want healthy teeth, right? Where can we go?
Yeah, so you can go to Amazon.com. You can go to EpicDental.com. You can pick it up at a lot of natural products retailers like Natural Grocers, for example. So any of those are easy. And if you want to follow us along, you can follow us on Instagram or TikTok at epic.dental.
Perfect. Amazing. Okay, we'd like to play a little game, if it's okay with you guys, to wrap this up. It's called the Fresh 5. We ask you 5 fun questions to get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready? Okay. It's brunch. What are you ordering? Nothing acidic, right?
He orders something sweet, I order something savory, and we share both of them.
Ooh, that's the best way. You get a little of both. I love that. Okay, are you East Coast or West Coast people?
East Coast. What are you?
It's so funny. I grew up on the East Coast, and I'm so West Coast. And she grew up in Utah and is claiming East Coast. That's funny, but she is. That's her vibe. It's true.
That's really cool. Okay, dog or cat people?
Dog for sure.
Okay, you didn't even have to think.
And we have a cute puppy, and I think that's something to know. Xylitol is not for dogs, so make sure to keep that away from your pets.
Good to know.
It's not safe for them.
Not for dogs, not for pets. Okay, great. You're on a plane. Where are you headed? Close your eyes. You're going to your favorite place or a new place that you've wanted to go. Where are you headed?
We have a beach in Mexico we love to go to.
Yeah, we've been there 4 times in the last year. So
Yeah.
You're headed to Mexico.
Yep.
Okay, very cool. Last one. Date night in or date night out?
I'm torn on that.
Oh no, date night out. They make way better steaks at the restaurant than we can make at home.
Donald's like, let's go out. That's so fun, you guys. Thank you so much. It's been so fun to get to know you both. One more time, tell us where we can follow you and get your products.
Yeah, sure. EpicDental.com or follow us on Instagram, TikTok at epic.dental.
Amazing. Monica, Donald, great to see you guys. And thank you for listening to another episode of Fresh Off the Set. Please rate, review, and subscribe, and we will see you next week. Congrats, you made it to the end. If you want to continue to freshen up your day, you can watch us on Fresh Living every weekday on CBS Channel 2 in Utah at 1 o'clock. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel, KUTV Fresh Living, and follow us on social media. We will see you next week.